every person we've had on pros, practice, practice, practice. That's the best tip for putting. It's just practice. But this is the only thing that I can think of that's out there that you can add if that's not working for you. You're not practicing deliberately, that you can add to your routine, add to your practice round that can help you improve.
You could spend $20 on a new putter. You could spend $20 on a tool that will help improve your putting. 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be the tool that helps you actually improve your putting, not the new putter. So I've definitely seen my Circle 1 putting increase, and definitely something that I know I will continue to use. And
let's say, those people who are saying, well, I really don't need that. I can't take it with me to league night, or I can't take it with me to the tournament. So how is it going to help me if, I'm practicing with it, but then when I go to league night or tournament, I don't have it there with me? What would you tell those people? What is going on, everyone? Thank you so much for coming back and listening to another episode of the Chain Clankers podcast. We're very excited. Hope you guys had an awesome weekend. Today is Monday, or, if you're listening to this on a Tuesday, whatever it is. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you got out and played with buddies or by yourself or whoever it was, got out. It's fall. It's going to start to get cold soon. We're very excited about this episode. And I think, Quentin's going to tell us a little bit more about what this episode was about.
Yeah, we had our buddy Rick on from DiscDot USA, and this is such a fun episode because we haven't really talked about putting in a while, and I truly believe by the end of this episode, you are going to be a better putter, and you're going to have the tools to become a better putter, because we have said this so many times on the podcast that the difference between being a good player and a bad player, a great player and a decent player, is your putting. If you want to move up in divisions, or if you just want to be a little bit more competitive with yourself, putting is super critical to that. So we're going to talk about one thing that can absolutely increase the percentage of putts that go in. And we're super excited to actually be partnering with DiscDot for this episode. This is brought to you by DiscDot USA. Head over to their website, discdotusa.com. Use the promo code ChainClankers. Save yourself 10% at discount. And you're going to understand by the end of this episode why you should enter that promo code and why you should get your own DiscDots. Without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's bring our friend Rick on. All righty, guys. Let's welcome on the man himself, Rick. How are we doing today, man?
Great, Quentin. Hey, man, thanks so much for having me on. It's a real honor. I love your show, love your content. Keep up the great work. I'm excited to be here. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a while since we had a non-player. We had Disc Golf Strong, and then we've also had the guys from OTB. So it's kind of fun doing these episodes, a little more business, a little bit of the other side of disc golf that people don't see all the time. So very excited to see this side of it. I know you guys are one of the, fewer specific, I guess, disc golf companies that people know about, are doing something different besides, just discs. Tell us a little bit about your story. First of all, we'll get into the business side, but how did you get into disc golf?
That was my brother-in-law, Tim. Shout out, Tim. No, I'm better than him, so he doesn't like that side of it. But he was bugging me for a while to come out and play. And this was a few years ago. And at the time, I had newborn twin girls. And I just didn't have the time to play and invest. And, I didn't know anything about disc golf. Had never heard of it before. And I think I was 38, getting close to 39 years old at the time. I didn't see the value for me. I was into video games at the time and didn't get out much. But he bugged me for maybe a year or so before I finally got out. And, the bug got me just like it got everybody else. You throw a few discs and you get one to actually go 50, 60 feet. And, that's it, man. The rest is history. So, I played a little bit, very little. I didn't have a whole lot of time with the young kids and all that. But, it was just a small hobby when I first got into it, and maybe play once a month. And I did that for about a year. And then I started getting into my local league. I wanted to get better, invest more time in it. Kids were getting around the 2-year-old mark, and it became a little bit easier to get out and play a little bit more. So I started playing leagues end of 2019. I want to say like October or so, and just starting to, try to be a little bit more competitive with it. And realized real quick that my putting was just trash, straight garbage, two, three putting every time. I rolled into 2020 and COVID hit, and that's where DiscDot was born. We can get into that, but that's how I got into it. My brother-in-law begged me for a long time, and I finally got bit by the bug. So here we are.
When he finally got you to go out, was he kind of the main guy that you would continue to go out with, or did you find yourself periodically kind of starting to go by yourself more and more?
Yeah, I didn't realize the benefit of going myself until later on. I would always go out with Tim and maybe a couple other buddies just on a weekend thing, very casual, because we didn't know what we were doing, just trying to learn. And I worked with Tim for many years, and we would go on our lunch break when we had time and things like that. So it was just me and him for the most part. Yeah, and then still to this day, we meet up. Hopefully, we try to do like one round a week together. We do like local league handicaps, sometimes dubs, that type of thing.
Yeah, I know there's something really cool. There's like all different kinds of disc golf rounds, and in golf, I feel like there's less, you meet up with buddies, once every few months, I guess. And then maybe you have the guys that are really hardcore would go out and practice by themselves. But disc golf, I feel like it's really special because, you have those rounds where you can do a tournament, it's competitive. You can do the rounds with your buddies and drink beer and just, BS and just have fun. You have the rounds where you go by yourself and you're just strictly practicing. Rounds where you go by yourself and you're just out there just to get out, play around, and kind of just relax. And I feel like that's really cool. And I know some of the best rounds I've had have been by myself, and you get like, no music or anything. You just get some ideas. You learn a lot about your form, about your technique, and you improve a lot when you're playing by yourself. How much, did that have anything to do with what evolved into eventually DiscDot?
Not really. Like I said, I didn't realize the benefit of playing by myself until actually after DiscDot was born. DiscDot came about by pure happenstance, kind of. I started spending more time doing practice in my backyard, just practice putting. I wanted to get better at putting, and so I bought a basket, just doing the reps in the backyard, and just realizing that there was I had a need for more. People kept telling me, focus on that single chain link. And then, so I started doing that, and it was helping. But then, there's that phrase, getting lost in the chains. And I found that was happening to me a lot. I had a really hard time figuring out where I was actually hitting versus where I was actually aiming. If it was off just a couple links, like I want to be direct and consistent. So, I wanted a little bit more of a focal point, and, that we'll get into that on the business side of it. But yeah, practice by yourself, unbelievably valuable. I definitely say that's probably like one of the best things that's helped my game, is going out by myself. No music, just focusing. Throw your whole bag, go pick it up, bring it back, do it again. And do that 10 times. You'll learn so much. And just even in the last week, I was prepping for a tournament. I went out by myself. And I started throwing putters. I don't normally do that because I'm not great off the tee, and that's why my rating is so low. But I forced myself to start throwing some putters just over and over again until I felt a little bit more comfortable with it. And now I'm throwing putters off the tee, and I'm feeling confident in it. And so there's something to be said for putting the work in and getting to know your discs, because just going out casually, I don't think you get that benefit. The feedback and the repetition of it. There's just so many few shots in an actual game. So anybody listening, for tip number one, go practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Practice is such a critical part to it. And it's having that deliberate practice. And, kind of like you were saying, getting lost in the chains. I'm going to use a term for the younger kids as well, getting lost in the sauce, right? You're just in there. And I've definitely felt that myself, where it almost becomes mind numbing because you're trying to focus on something, but you're focusing on everything, if that makes sense. If you're kind of on my wavelength right now, you kind of understand what I'm saying. Like, you're trying to pinpoint that single chain, but the whole basket is just kind of taking over, which definitely I have personally seen the difference between being able to have that specific hit point and not having that specific hit point. So with that practice, right, you're getting into disc golf, you're starting to do some tournaments, 2020 comes along, and, now it's like, all right, probably not as many tournaments are going on, probably not as many league nights are going on. How does it transition from I am casual to getting competitive into disc golf to maybe I've got this cool idea and product, let me try it out myself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Early 2020, I was running my own design engineering business, successful for many years. When we found out we were pregnant with twins is when I made the switch from 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship, and it went well. I was able to transition my normal 9 to 5 job to an actual customer of mine, and then I found more customers as I went along and was able to sustain a living that way. And then COVID hit and those contracts dried up almost overnight. It was really, really crazy and really a weird time in life, and kind of still is. And so with that, I had a bunch of time on my hands, nothing to do. I wasn't really playing that many video games anymore. I was playing more disc golf. So I was like, let me invest some more time. And, like I had already had the backyard basket, and, I found the need for a bit of a targeting aid. And many of the years I spent with my design business, and even before that, I was heavily involved in product design. So I would take customer's idea from part to part is how we say it. Bringing ideas to life, bringing them to market, getting those ideas patented, that sort of thing, with the whole gamut. And so it already struck me that there would be a product for this. There's a product for everything in the market, and being that it's a sport, and every other sport that you could think of already has a training aid or targeting aid of some kind. Baseball, football, they have the nets with a basket in them, or they have the bullseye, like darts has a bullseye, that they all have something you can focus on and really hone in your aim. So, when I looked up disc golf, target aid or basket aid, whatever, nothing. I'm like, really? It's like light bulb. I'm a product guy. Maybe there's something to this, but I didn't really know anything about disc golf as a whole. I was still very, very new to the sport. The thought I could do at the time was maybe just prototype something and see if it helped me. And so that's what I did. I came up with a little design. I knew somebody that had a 3D printer. I got it 3D printed and popped it on the chains. It worked first time. It didn't come off. And it was like immediate results. Immediate, like night and day. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this for real? Is it really that simple? And it's like, just chains alone, you would think, oh, I could focus on that one little thing and it'd be all right. But there's something about having the physical representation, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily a special color, because I've tried it with white and I've tried it with black. We now have the GK dots that are black. It doesn't have to be brightly colored. It's just something that draws your focus and attention to right where you want. And, I think everybody can relate that if you throw an object at a point and you're focusing on that point all the way through, the tendency of that object is going to go right where you're aiming. And so when you have an actual focal point versus just the basket as a whole, you're taking that focus from the basket to the small point. So your follow through and everything tends to follow your vision and your path of flight. And man, it was crazy. So I took that little idea and I showed it to Tim and a couple buddies and had them try it out, and they were like, this is cool. I mean, maybe you're onto something. And so I 3D printed a little 6-cavity mold, and I started hand casting them from a 2-part epoxy, and I started giving them out to my guys at league. Hey, try this out. Bring it home, put it on your basket. Let me know what you think. And it was, it's comical. It's weird to think about and reflect on it now, because at the time there was a bunch of people like, that's stupid. I don't need that. And just aim dead center and putt. And I was like, well, I'm new and it works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you. Whatever. It's fine. But overall, I was getting good feedback, and so like the rest just was like a slow steamrolling train, and now a year later we've gained a whole lot of traction, and really made our brand awareness. I think almost anybody that watches any disc golf content has seen us, and has heard about us. And so, I'm really proud of that we've built it from literally nothing, just an idea, but it's something that I've been doing my whole life. So, just another product to the market, in one respect, but in the other respect, it's like completely my baby. And, it's really cool the way it's turned out, for something so simple to be so effective. I really couldn't believe that it hadn't been thought about before, or maybe it has, and just maybe not the right circumstances for somebody to get an actual product to market.
Some of that feedback, some people were saying it was stupid or whatever, wouldn't work. Have you seen different results, or people, newer players versus more on the pro side? I know you guys sponsor a couple of the pros. Is there different kind of feedback from new players versus the pro players, or is it similar into like how they're using it, I guess?
As far as like real new players, I think it comes a little bit more intuitive to them because they have an open mind, and it's like, oh, this goes with that. I get it, but somebody that's been playing a long time, it's harder to sell them the value because they've been doing it this way for so long. And I think that's just true with anybody. You've been doing something this way for so long, it works for you, you have your routine or whatever. But seeing is believing, and I found that I've been able to convert a lot of people just by giving them one and having them try it out, and like, oh, I see the value. But where I think the more experienced pros are finding value in it, let's take Garrett Gerthy, for example. He's not necessarily known for his putting, but he used it for a couple of weeks, and he was like, man, this is really helping me shape my putt, because it gives me that one little focus point, and depending on my situation, I can really hone in on it. And he's been a great advocate for the tool, as a person who actually uses it, and he's a elite player. He's doing really well, and the last few events his putting's been really good. So maybe pure happenstance and luck was on his side, and he made all his putts, but I'm in the background saying, yeah, let's go. So I think overall, it definitely is a tool that can help everybody. Everybody's going to see it differently. And, it is what you make of it. If you're open, if you're open to using a training tool of that size, I really think it can help you. It's helped me a lot. That's why, my putting is great. I wish I had a tool for my tee shots,
Yeah. And I think something that is super interesting, and I was kind of going through your website in preparation for this episode. You can get, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, please. I want to say like a 3-pack for $20 or less than $20. So pretty much you can equivalent 3 of them for a disc. So let's put that in terms of, okay, so you can have a tool that will infinitely help you get better at putting versus a new putter. What is going to help your game more? You would think the training tool would help your game more than just another putter. So I think it's a fantastic investment, and something when you kind of put it in those terms, it really helps understand like this is worth the money. You can see that return on investment right there. So just another reason why I think more people should give it a try. But something that I want to ask you is, you were talking about, when you were able to give this product to people at league, or just, whomever you're giving the physical products to, even literally us, it's one of those things where, okay, I'm able to try it out. I can understand. I see the benefit from this. How do you convert, let's say, Instagram followers, for example, who you can't talk to every single Instagram follower you have. You can't give every Instagram follower you have a free sample, because then you're not going to have any customers. How do you convert those followers into customers?
That is probably one of our biggest single challenges right now. My background is design and engineering. My wife's background is sales and distribution. So nowhere in there is marketing and advertising and everything that goes into educating the customer. And that is my biggest problem right now, is showing people why it works, how it works, why we think you could use it. And so we've been putting a lot of time recently into stepping up our game personally, learning how to make a good marketing flyer, put all the information in there in a visual form where people can relate. And so I think we've made pretty good strides recently in doing that. And you said you went to the website. We just revamped the website and put a nice graphic up there, with some video of our pro endorsements, which also help. They have a lot of followers and a lot of reach. And so every pro that we have 8 now, they all believe in us and our product 100%. So it's not a money thing, because in reality we don't pay them all that much, because we're just a startup. We're still trying to grow. These are people that have come on board because they agree that it's a great product and they want to help us grow and get the word out. And so their endorsements really help us, and they do those all the time. Then they're in their regular putting videos or what have you. So we also do things like OTB Tour skins. We sponsor that, and we do the CTPs on that. So it's like you have to have a little bit of everything, and we're by no means perfect, and we're still working, and we're still learning and trying different things. And it's only been a year, but we've come a long way, and we still have a lot of room to go. I hope that answered your question. It might have been a long answer.
Let's say, those people who are saying, well, I really don't need that. I can't take it with me to league night, or I can't take it with me to the tournament. So like, how is it going to help me if, I'm practicing with it, but then when I go to league night or tournament, I don't have it there with me? What would you tell those people?
I would say you do have it with you, and it's right here. It's up here. When you practice with that DiscDot for a little while, I won't say it's going to be a day, but it'll be over time. You'll develop muscle memory, and eventually, I know in my case, I can actually visualize my dot where I want it. I can see exactly where I need it to be, and it's no longer about the basket as a whole, but I know how to focus properly, if that makes sense. Maybe not properly, but more effectively. I can really zone in on where I need to hit. And so you don't need it all the time. It's a practice tool. It's meant for practice. It's meant for repetition, building that muscle memory, building that focus and that confidence. When you can say confidently, I can hit this DiscDot from 20 feet, 10 times in a row, under a certain given condition all day long, that confidence is going to translate to the course. And when you come to a shot with confidence, I think more times than most, you will make it, and so that's like the biggest struggle, I think, is people step up to a putt and they're like, yeah, I don't know. And if you come up with that, mentality, and I still do it to this day, if I have a headwind on me and I'm still only like 15 feet away, I'm thinking about it. And I'm, I got to make sure I push it hard and don't throw it nose up or it's going to hit the band, And so in instances like that, you might miss. So you really got to step up and be like, I'm going to make it. I've made it 100 times and I'm going to make it this time too. And I think DiscDot really helps you build that confidence in your routine.
Yeah, having that swag out there on the green is so important. And I also agree with what you're saying. I believe in that mental, like telling yourself you are going to make this putt, because mentality in disc golf is such a huge thing. We've literally had episodes about mentality in disc golf before. If you haven't listened to it, if you're a new listener, go check them out. They're really, really good. But it's one of those things where if you have a bad attitude, if you're scared, if you don't think you're going to make it, you're probably not going to make it. And I apologize to whomever told us this, but it's one of those things where this pro said, if you're going to step up to a putt, you might as well just give it everything you have and try and have the confidence in it. Because if you're going to miss, that's at least a better miss than being scared and pushing it way to the right or leaving it really short. At least give it an opportunity, have that swag, have that mental capacity and strength to be able to go up there and make those putts. So I think that is a fantastic answer to that question. And Horatio, I'm glad you asked that, because that was literally the next question that I had written down. So great minds are thinking alike there on that one. So that kind of leads me to this question is, you're a new brand, startup. How do you go from, okay, we've started to make some sales, now we're going to reach out to a pro. how did that first conversation, who was the first pro that you guys kind of reached out? How did that conversation go? And, how do you guys kind of, I guess, almost do that kind of business working with trying to get pros on your team?
Okay. Yeah. So the first pro was Johnny McCrae. Shout out, Johnny. That guy's a legend, man. He's awesome. And I didn't even really know much of who he was at the time, but lucky enough for me, where I live locally, he is kind of a local to that area. And I saw him once at the DeBerry Open. Um, it was last year. I saw him playing around, and they were all, everybody was like hooping and hollering, yeah, it's Johnny McCrae, making a big deal. And I was just like, we had just launched the business, and I was just being subjected to the world of professional disc golf. I didn't even really know it was much of a thing. I was a recreational player, and then I had this idea. The idea wasn't about professional market. It was a tool to help people putt better. So back to Johnny, the guy that's been helping us from the beginning, Pat LePage, aka Disc Golf Dude. He was helping us with a little bit of the marketing end because he had a decent following on Facebook, and we didn't really know much about the industry at the time. He's a bit more bold than I am. I would have never reached out to Johnny myself, but Pat was like, hey, if you're interested, we'd be down to sponsor you in some way. You're a legend in the field, and we would just really value having you on the team. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. He was all in from the get-go because, he's an OG, and those OGs, they push, pick a chain link, you got to focus small, aim small, miss small. That's what they say, right? And he's like, I've been saying this for 20 years, 25 years in my clinics, and now I finally have a tool that will allow me to demonstrate this properly. And so he was the first one. And thank you, Johnny, for being with us. He's going to stay with us for 2022. I hope we can make him proud. So, that was our first dip into the pool, so to speak. And, at the time, we didn't really know how to approach, what to do. We thought if the product was good enough, they would come to us. But, nobody knew who we were. And maybe people still don't. So I hope this is an opportunity for them to get to know us. We found that we had to, approach them, go to them, message them. And it's really intimidating, they seem like celebrities, like how do you just reach out to somebody and expect, a response? I'm sure they get thousands of messages a day. Well, they might, but, more often than not, they're actually going to respond to you. Disc golf is unlike anything I've ever seen. And the community, what I thought, or, what it seems to be a really big thing is really actually a small knit community. And so, everybody's been really great, and, everybody's responded to our messages. And so we just started kind of diving more into who the players were, because with Johnny, I didn't really know who he was. So moving forward from that, I wanted to get to know people a little bit better before pitching them. And so our second team member was Gavin. Here, I got the shirt represent. I started out with Gavin. He won a set of dots on the OTB skins match. And I messaged him and was just like, hey, let me know what you think. And he was like, I love it. It's great. And so we messaged for a few weeks, before I actually pitched him. And it just came naturally, and he was like, I would love to be on your team. So since then, it's like, it goes back to the confidence thing. It's like, you don't know what you don't know, but at the end of the day, we're all just people, and we're all just getting through the day, so it's like, don't be afraid to ask the question. The worst they can say is no or not respond, and so since then, we've gotten to know a lot of the players really well just by watching coverage. And the OTB skins, man, one of the best content of disc golf you can watch on TV. It helps you, know the players a little bit better. They're a little bit more themselves than a professional setting. So it's just grown really well from there, and organically. And I think OTB skins has been, a great catalyst for that, because it's been able to get our product in front of a lot of those pros in an organic fashion. Hey, you guys, you won this, and we also, throw money their way, for the CTP itself. They're very appreciative of that. It helps them stay on tour, and every dime we made, in 2020 and in 2021. It's all been reinvested into the sport, and we just want to continue to keep doing it. To finish up that question, the pros have been great. They're really, it's yeah. I don't know how to finish up that question. I mean, they're just awesome. Our team is awesome, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
No, you do not need to explain that anymore to us. Literally, the success that we've had in the short period of time that we've been doing this has been because how great the community is. Literally, we've just shot our shot with everybody. All the pros, just message them and been like, "Hey, we're doing this," and we were up front. We're like, we're a new podcast. This is kind of what we're doing. We would love to talk to you. Love to have our listeners just kind of get in your brains a bit. And people have been amazing. Taking the time. We had a bunch of them, give interviews during tour, when they're traveling overnight and then practicing 3 days and then traveling, they've taken the time to sit down with us and to do interviews. And we really, really appreciate all those. I mean, even now, you reached back out to us after we reached out, we had some conversations, and I mean, you're a busy guy and you're taking the time. So I think that's one thing that's incredible about this community is that everyone is trying to help each other up, whether it's OTB, us or you guys or other companies or other brands. Everyone is kind of a startup. This, disc golf has been around for a long time, but a lot of the stuff that's growing disc golf currently is pretty new. I mean, you said you've only been playing for 2-3 years. We've only been playing for 2 years or so. And, at the beginning, I feel like last year, there was a lot of the veteran players who were like, who are all these new people playing our sport? Like, we've been playing disc golf for years. Why are you guys, taking up, making our courses busy, telling us how to play, all this stuff? There was some resentment from those veteran players that have been around for a long time. And you're like, I don't need you to tell me my sport is cool. I know it's cool. I've been playing for 10 years. There was definitely people like that. But I mean, how much energy has been brought into the sport by all these new players? Like, I mean, look at you, you're a new player and you're starting this. We're pretty new, started this podcast. And how many other players that are starting new things, YouTube videos, companies. And I think it's pretty incredible. And I mean, hopefully the more new players, there's someone out there that is going to take this sport to the next level. Maybe they're in promoting, maybe they're in, and more into finances and they find it as a hobby and they're going to take this to the next level. And so the more people that can get involved into the sport, the better. And I feel like your company, DiscDot is something that's great. It's an easy way to get people into it. Maybe you have a new buddy who gets into you, they go out to play with you once and, you have some DiscDots with you and you're like, hey, the roughest part of your game today was your putting. Take this, you don't have a lot of time. You can't go out play that much. Maybe they're a weekend warrior, but maybe they can get a putting basket or something. And they can do that at home and that can get them into the sport, get them in love with it. But I guess I'm just ranting there. Don't really have a question, but I kind of just, I guess, go off of what you were talking about. But yeah, this community is great.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And I think part of why the pros are so great and open to talking is because, they are their own brand, they have to sell themselves, and disc golf is a sport that doesn't get a whole lot of coverage. And unless you're competing on a chase card or a lead card, nobody really gets the opportunity to know you or even see your face. So, I think it's probably really hard for them to get themselves known by people that are just coming into the sport, and trying to figure out who they like and who their favorite players are and all that. So, me and all the pro players and you guys, it's like, you got to take the time, to do these things, and really try to get your message out, what you're all about.
Yeah. One of my favorite new players, new faces, at least to me, has been Kristen Tatar. Horatio has heard me just absolutely rant about how I think she is the best FPO player right now.
I don't think she's a new player though. I feel like she's been around for a long time.
No, I'm saying since I'm newer into the sport, she's we didn't see any of the Euros in 2020. So she is still new to me. Absolutely gutted that she cannot be here for the end of the season. But where I'm going with this is, first off, how did you kind of build that relationship with her? Second off, did you something that, with our podcast and with any business, you want to continue to expand your reach, expand your market. Was there almost an incentive to try to get working with someone over in Europe to expand the brand overseas, or did everything just kind of, fall into place for you?
It really fell into place, and I think I probably waited a little longer than I should have to reach out to Kristen and Silver. They were on OTB Skins again, and I think Silver won his first at Goat Hill, maybe something like that, Des Moines Challenge, and then Kristen got hers a week or two later at the doubles event that they did, and they kept them on their bags like from day one. And shout out to Silver, my man. He's like the real hero here. He was getting his bag on coverage like everywhere, and I was like, man, he's like trying to tell me something? Like I see him everywhere, like blocking the camera, and the disc dots are right there. I'm like, and my wife was like, enough is enough. Like message him. You got to find out. So I did reach out to him, and we messaged back and forth a little bit, and they were excited from day one, and they were ready to go. And then I don't think it was until that point that we realized, that's a great way to capture some of the European and overseas market. Is, they're very popular over there, and we didn't even really know them at the time, not at all. We didn't know that they've been around for a little while, and so it's going to be great for our growth. It already has been, what they've done. It's unfortunate that they couldn't be here. I was hoping to see them at USDGC. We drove up there for the weekend. We were going to give them some custom dots for DG Academy. It didn't work out, unfortunately, so hopefully they'll get back over here for 2022, because I see them slaying. Better watch out.
So let's, so we've kind of talked about, where you came from, what you've been doing, what you've been up to. Let's talk a little bit about the future. What kind of future plans do you have for the company? Anything in the works? What other great ideas do you guys have in mind?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the other ideas that we currently do is we do these ground markers, and it's got these little feet on them, and they work really well in my backyard, and most soft ground will accept these, and you just stick them on the ground and stomp them in with your foot. And I put them at like 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, like what you would do for like a perfect putt 360 setup. And so I go outside, my markers are already there. I leave them outside, doesn't matter, and these are 3D printed, so Florida, I live in Florida, and the sun is pretty brutal on these. So probably after like 6 months, it'll be like a faded red, but this is something I'm working on getting into production. Hopefully in 2022, I'll have like a more robust color options and plastic selections, glow in the dark, that type of stuff. That's one of the things that we've been working on. We've got a couple of good ideas in the backlog, but it comes down to capital. And being a startup, I've got a lot of my money is tied up in inventory. It's all paid off right now, but it's like as soon as I can pay it off, it's like pretty much sold out, and I have to put in another order. And so scaling it up has been a challenge. And so one of my goals for 2022 is to find a bigger partner to work with. And I've started conversations with somebody. I can't say who it is yet because there's nothing in stone yet, but I think the path for us is to have a bigger manufacturer behind us, and specifically a disc golf manufacturer, because that will give me access to materials and the cool wow factor, like swirls. We do some stuff with glitter, like the black and gold glitter, but I think we can do better there. The molder that I have now is just a small mom and pop. My mom actually works there. She's been there for like 25 years. I grew up in that hometown, and so it was an easy decision for me to go there because of the pricing, and they could meet my demand and the basic color options that I wanted. But in order to scale it up, I need more access to capital to be able to buy at a bigger rate and drive the price down, and then somebody to help me with distribution on a larger scale. Because we have, I think, 60-ish or so retailers, which is great. It keeps residual income coming in. But it's just me and my wife running the company, and like I said, we have Pat, but he's like part-time, and he's like an in-between. If I need marketing help, he helps me make graphics, and if I need him on the sales email, he helps me bust out some of those. But by and large, it's just me and my wife running it day to day, and it's a lot of that's behind the scenes. So I think if I could take some of that off my plate and have a bigger company that's already got a team and a system in place to handle that, like water off a duck, like for me, it's a challenge because we have 3 very young kids, and we're stay at home full-time parents and business owners. And we have 2 disabled parents that also live with us. So it's like it's a full house, stressful house. But so you got to get work done in between that. So I think, if I could take the scaling part of it off my shoulders, because that's just not what I do. I'm an idea guy. I know how to take things to market. I know how to make things come to life. And so I want to be able to get back to that a little bit. And so I think a bigger company behind us would help us do that and help us push some of these new ideas and more training products. And I have a couple ideas that push a little bit of innovation into the sport, and kind of complement some of the stuff that I'm already doing, with the dots. So yeah, I think big picture, it's definitely having a bigger force behind me that can help us really take this to the next level. Because I can only do so much as myself, or me and my wife Natasha. And it's a grind. And at the end of the day, I still got a family, wife and 3 kids that I want to devote time to. So the DiscDot's like, I've created a monster, if that makes sense. Like making a design and a prototype and manufacturing a part is like one small piece of the business, but then you start doing taxes and accounting and marketing and advertising and website development and inventory control and sales, and now I'm hot stamping dots, and my God, the list goes on and on. It's like, where does it end? So I mean, we got a lot of good ideas, so I think that bigger company is the answer.
Yeah, getting that bigger company would be huge. I can only imagine how much, just from what you're saying, that could change, and also just how much easier it would be to distribute and all the supply chain and logistics and stuff. Yeah. So that kind of leads me to, you're doing this with your family. Horatio and I, we're doing this together. We're, in-laws, and have, our significant others, our sisters, and, we're all working together. So what is, I guess, your biggest challenge, or how do you work with your wife and your family? Like what works for you?
I mean, that could change daily. And I think a lot of that revolves around the kids. If it's a good day and they're all getting along, things are hunky dory. Natasha can help me a lot in the office. She's really, really good with social media. And so she's been really flexing that muscle lately, and she's really good with the analytics of it and following the trends. And so, she's the one that's come up with all the marketing material that we're pushing now and really helping us educate the customer. And, what works best for us, a lot of it is background work, busy work. So I do most of that, where it's like making sure the website and the inventory is loaded properly and working and effective, and hot stamping dots or engraving dots or packing orders, that type of thing. And on phone calls with whoever it might be. I had a phone call early this morning with Jesse at Trash Panda. We're shooting some ideas and collaborating on a couple things that you'll see coming up. So I do a lot of that, and she does a lot of the mom work during the day. And in her free time while she's watching the kids, she helps out with the social media, because everybody's got their phone in their hand all the time, so kind of makes it easy. Like blessing and a curse at the same time. So that's been working for us as of late. It took us a while to kind of figure out that routine. We were both trying to be in it all the time, and something's got to give, and somebody's got to be there for the kids, and our parents are disabled, so the level of care that they can help out with as far as like babysitting and stuff like that is not quite what you would get if you paid somebody for the service. So we just work with what we have. If grandma or papa can watch the kids for an hour or two, then we'll come up and we'll bust out a big custom order if we had to. We just sent one to Austria that was 50 custom tag-alongs and a bunch of dots. So that took a couple days to wrestle through. So we just we work around it. And since we're basically home all the time, any waking moment can be work. So you have to find a good schedule that works for you and make sure that there's a balance, because DiscDot can definitely swallow up every minute of my day. I have a to-do list that's a million miles long. And if you're on that to-do list and you're waiting for me, sorry about that. I'm getting to you. Yeah, I mean, it's owning your own business is like the hardest job you'll ever have, 9 to 5. Man, there's just a lot of security you feel when you have a 9 to 5 and a normal steady paycheck, and you can just punch that clock out at 5 o'clock and go home and turn it off. But there's nothing more rewarding than owning your business, making your own schedule, having a unlimited amount of family time if you want it. Sometimes the girls come up and help us pick out dots, or they build the tag-alongs for us. So they're getting to an age where they can really help it really be a family business, not just me and my wife. So it's starting to really become something fun versus a grind. And so I want to hopefully ride that train as long as it'll go, and eventually maybe even pay myself a paycheck. That'd be great. I haven't done that since the design business went down, but I think the business requires it. And, investing back in disc golf has been nothing but rewarding. And so I just want to continue doing that. The business has done really well. We just crossed 6 figures for our first year of business. I want to grow that, 2, 3, 10 times if possible, and really, really give back and help grow the sport. We're doing it small potatoes right now. We'll do whole sponsorships here and there, or give away product, or we do some sponsorships with our pros, and that costs a little bit of money, but we do the OTB and all that, so it does all add up. But I would love to do more, and I would love to donate to schools. We don't have any presence in the education system, and I think the DiscDot is really helpful for kids. I know our kids love it, giving them a little thing, hit the dot, like they get to pick their special color. I think it's invaluable for that, and that's kids are the future. We know that time and time again. And so I'd love to really have the capacity and the ability to start doing more than what we're doing now.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, and there's like a joke I see on Instagram all the time, but entrepreneurs and stuff, and they'll make the reel, and it's like, I hated my 9 to 5, so I quit and started my own business, and now I work 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's true, but none of them regret it. They love what they're doing. They believe in what they're doing. It's easy to wake up. It's easy to put your blood and sweat into something when you believe in it, than going in and just clocking in and just watching the time go by so you can get out of there. And then so it's tough, but I think right now you're in that stage where you are grinding, but as you figure stuff out, because I mean most entrepreneurs aren't business professionals, whatnot, so it takes a little bit to figure out, but once you do, then you can really start to enjoy. And I'm a huge I love reading, especially business and finances and all that stuff. And I don't know if you've read it, maybe you have, but The E-Myth, I feel like you would really like that book. It's a great book for people that go on and start their own businesses, and kind of struggle with that balance and kind of dividing stuff up. So if you have you don't have that much free time, but if you can squeeze it in there, I would recommend The E-Myth. I think you would really enjoy it and really benefit from that. But
yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, the balance is hard, man. It's like even disc golf can wear you out after a while if it's all you do. Most of my time is like in the office, and then when I'm not in the office, I'm watching whatever coverage is available, any and all of it. There's not enough. We could definitely use more. And then it's like when I'm worn out of that and I can't take it no more, I find time to go play a round of disc golf, and all is reset. So it's like it comes and goes, but it can be a job. But if you could do your best to balance it out, and find the joys where you can, it's been really rewarding.
Yeah, and just really quick before we start winding stuff back up here, I guess the DiscDot, it doesn't really come with a tutorial per se. So you as the creator, I guess, give us a quick rundown, a quick tutorial of like the best way to use it. The best way people will get results. I mean, it sounds simple. Just put it on the basket on the chain, and then you hit that dot. But I'm sure there is a better way intended to be used that you could tell the listeners.
Yeah, for sure. What I find works best for me, and it's a little different for my wife as well, but I use 5 for myself personally. I use 1 in my normal spot, which is just a bit left of center. I'm a lefty backhand dominant. I also throw a right hand forehand, which is really weird, but left hand dominant putter. So I aim just a bit left of the pole and about the center. And that's my normal spot. If there's no wind, it's a normal putt. That's where I aim. And then 2 links up, I put a dot. 2 links down, I put a dot. So that'll be headwind or tailwind, or if I have a longer putt, perhaps I'll aim at the higher one. And then I put 2 towards the outside left of the basket, and those are for, a little bit more of a hyzer shot, or a longer like step or jump putt where I'm trying to let the disc fade back in. So I use 5. I know my wife likes to use 6, and she sets up for she sets 1 set up on the right side. She's right-handed. She does a stagger putt, and then she has a set for straddle putt because she finds that her disc comes out differently, and so she has to aim in a different spot. And I find the same thing, but I try to just aim center for my straddles and try not to throw it too high. I try to aim a little bit lower, so I'll use that lower dot. And then she actually uses a set of dots for a forehand shot, which is different for me because I don't normally practice like chucking a forehand like actually at the basket, but she finds value in that. She's really new to the sport, much newer than me in actually playing, and she finds value in that. But I think, just like you're picking out your own putter, you got to find what works for you. I started with 1 dot, and I used 1 dot for a long time, and I would just move the dot depending on if there was a little bit of a headwind or a tailwind, depending on, because I spent a lot of time out in the backyard putting. But we've had feedback from people that say that they like to use 2 dots and separate the link in between. And so that helps them still focus on a chain link, if you will, but by separating it. And then we've also found people that like using, let's say, 6 and make a circle out of it and try to get it into the circle, almost like a target zone. So it's just, whatever works best for you in the moment. I would definitely say you could start with 1. And if you find yourself moving it around a lot based on the conditions, pick up a couple more and put them on, and then you can just leave them up all the time. And I think that works best for me. And, it'll make a big difference. I promise you that. I found it extremely valuable, and my putts inside the circle are pretty good. If I could just rain those tee shots in, we'd be talking.
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely noticed since both Horatio and I have gotten our own pair that we have been cooking lately. Horatio has been unstoppable from circle 2. Let me tell you what, folks, unstoppable from circle 2. You got a little step in him now, looking good out there. And I've definitely seen my circle 1 putting increase, and definitely something that I know I will continue to use. And I really hope, and I know you guys heard the ad read at the beginning of this episode, and this is more than just an ad read. This is a entire opportunity for you guys to learn literally straight from the source about how this product works and why it's so beneficial and why it's worth your own investment in it. Like I said at the beginning, or I guess not the beginning, but somewhere in the interview already, you could spend $20 on a new putter. You could spend $20 on a tool that will help improve your putting. 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be the tool that helps you actually improve your putting, not the new putter. So I would absolutely recommend you guys pick up your own set of DiscDot. Like we said in the intro, use promo code ChainClankers. You can save 10%. You might as well literally give it a try. It's literally give it a try. Let me know personally. Let Horatio know. Let us both know.
Quentin, are you saying you need more practice and not more discs?
No, Horatio, be quiet. We're not going to talk about that. Yes, I need more practice. We all need more practice. Okay, we get it. I had a bad week and I wanted some new plastic. Okay, I'm sorry. If you don't know, you should be looking at our Instagram stories daily, because Horatio put on there, I want to say it was like Monday or something like that, put on there, hey, you don't need more discs. You need more practice. And then you're not exposing yourself. You went out there and bought multiple discs yourself, your winnings as well as your Hades that you bought. So we're both guilty here.
Yep, no doubt. I mean, we're all guilty of it. I did it myself, this past weekend at a tournament. Even though I did come in fourth and I got a little bit of winnings, and I definitely spent that on disc, but I spent green cash out of my pocket too and bought some more. It's an unhealthy obsession I think we all suffer from, but we all have to have our vices, I think.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
but no, I
Yeah.
think it's. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to touch on that one comment you were saying about Horatio, stepping up, making those circle two putts. It's not just a product that's going to help you focus, but like it goes back to that confidence and the way you're talking about him stepping up and nailing those putts. Like he's stepping up because he practiced and he can hit that dot. It goes a long way. It goes much further than the product itself. And I think the proof is in the putting.
Ooh, I like
Bad
that.
fun.
Put that
Bad
on a
fun.
t-shirt.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest, putting, most people can putt. I think a great example is Nico LeCastro. Like I follow him on Instagram, and he, on his practice rounds, he will make, 9 out of 10 putts. He'll make every single putt. And tournament, those nerves and kind of, that mental kind of, I think, messes with him. And he's gone, kind of like a rough persona, for the time he takes, because he's trying to, get that confidence together. And I'm just using him kind of as an example because people know of it and he's, in disc golf. But, it can be, used for most people, whereas their putting comes from it's confidence. Most people, Nicola Castro can make those putts, almost all the time. He could probably be one of the best putters in the world if he was able to transfer that confidence from the practice round to the tournaments. And sometimes he can. And when he can, he's able to win because, putting is what wins rounds. And so, if you can find something, to give you that extra boost of confidence, to give you that extra, in your game, it's going to improve your rounds. You can go out to do field practice and try to get distance, get that extra 50 feet, get that extra 100 feet or whatever. But, if you park that disc, let's say you do field practice, okay, and you're finally going from, you were at 200, now you're getting up to 300, and you're able to park some of those shots to get those birdies, and, you're 15, 20 feet and you can't putt, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get that par or that bogey that you were always getting. Definitely keep working on your drive and on your tees, but putting is literally what separates divisions, and even on tour, it's what separates the winners, the top 10 from the rest of the people on tour. So this is the only thing, I can think of. Every person we've had on pros, practice, practice, practice. That's the best tip for putting. It's just practice. But this is the only thing that I can think of that's out there that you can add. If that's not working for you, you're not practicing deliberately, that you can add to your routine, add to your practice round that can help you improve. And, maybe you might not figure it out right away, but maybe, for those people that, really give it a shot and take time to learn it and practice with it, it improves their game. And I mean, what do you have to lose, honestly?
Right, no doubt. And another benefit that I hadn't mentioned yet is the usability and the utility side effects, I guess, if you want to call it that, from DiscDot, is I found that like with my brother-in-law Tim, he's colorblind. So one of the first colors I came out with was yellow because it was really easy for him to see yellows. And since then I've come to learn people that have like a wandering eye syndrome, or we just recently sponsored Jessica Oleski with Team MVP, and she's been really open with her ADHD, and she finds that it helps her a lot, immensely, by able, have that one little focal point, brightly colored or whatever. And so I also have another team member who I can't remember what it's called, but it's where you literally can't visualize something. So when you say, like, picture if you were to put a dot, like a something on this chain, and she's like, I literally can't do that, and I don't know what it's called, but so the physical representation of the dot in a bright color, it helps with certain personal ailments, if you will, to help you keep your focus and drive that muscle memory home, to help you, like, really refine what, your form and how you throw the disc and how you focus and how you follow through and all that. So it ties, your visual to your brain to your hand. It's the missing link.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as somebody who definitely struggles a little bit with color blindness, I know in Horatio, we're kind of splitting them up. I was like, yeah, I'll take the yellow one because I can at least see that one. And also, like, that's so funny. I'm so glad that somebody else has mentioned the like not being able to picture things, because I'll literally ask my fiance, like, what did this look like or whatever, and just cannot remember for whatever it is. So I'm glad that exists. But you're also right. I have forced her to try to use it, even though she doesn't like to practice all that much in the backyard. I have tried my hardest, and it has definitely worked for her a little bit as well. So I just think that overall, I think the entire episode encapsulates that this is a great product. Give it a try. Use the promo code, save yourself a little bit of coin while you're doing it. And this is a great business to, I don't know, invest into as a consumer, right? Because at the end of the day, support. There you go. That's another term. You with the Pro Tour Championship, guaranteed rate. Horatio and we had talked about it. When these corporate entities come in to sponsor things, it is important to show your support for them so that they come back. The exact same thing here. It's important to support those businesses in disc golf so that they can continue to thrive, continue to grow the sport, do what they can do to help other people in the sport, give back to the sport. So yeah, Rick, this has been so much fun. I've learned a ton. I know people at home have learned a ton. Let's get you out of here on the Ace Round. If you're new to the Chain Clankers Disc Golf Podcast, this is your first ever episode that you're listening to. The Ace Round is the same 5 questions we ask all our guests to see their answers, how they can differ, and this can help you in so many different ways. Horatio, why don't you kick us off with the first question?
All right. So first question we got for you here is, you're taking a new buddy, they just play their first round and they want to buy their first set of discs. What putter, mid, and driver are you recommending to them?
Yeah, I've gone a lot of different ways with this one over my year. I've tried a lot of plastic. Right now, I'm putting with a Discraft X Focus Soft. Kind of hard to find right now, but it was the first putter that I ever bought. I bought it off the used shelf at my local shop. It felt good in my hand. It was really gummy. Just something. It's bright orange. It's beat up looking. I loved it. So I bought it. I was using it for a while, and then I switched. I was trying dozens of putters. I couldn't even tell you how many, but I was putting with the AGL Ponderosa for a little while, but I've gone back to that X Focus, and man, that thing is money. That'll grab one chain and grab and fall into the basket, man. I love it. So I would say probably that one. Mid-range, you really can't go wrong with a buzz. But since I've lost so many buzzes early on, my wife forbade me to buy any more. So I had to branch out. And right now I'm throwing the MVP reactor. And I think that's a really good mid-range. Goes straight under power. Got a nice little fade at the end. I think that's a really great disc. Driver, the first one I ever fell in love with and still love to this day is the Latitude River. My youngest daughter is named River, and so of course I had to buy that disc just to try it out, and of course it's great. Seven speed, 7 glide, -1 +1 on the turn and fade. It's a great beginner's disc. You can get a lot of distance out of it. That would be my go-to.
Nice. Those are definitely some good choices right there. The second question we have for you, what is your favorite course you have played and one course you would love to play in the future?
Central Florida, it's really hard to find like tournaments and a whole lot going on in the area, especially during the summer. So I haven't gotten exposure to a lot of courses. The one that I played around here that I love the most is Champions Point, and that's over, I think, in Mount Dora, Florida, Central Florida area. Really nice. It's open, but it's got low hanging trees placed strategically. So it was a lot of fun to play. One that I would love to play is Maple Hill. I grew up in Massachusetts. I lived there for 25-ish years or so before I moved to Florida. And I didn't know anything about disc golf before I moved, and I wish I had, because just a couple hours away, it was like one of the most iconic disc golf courses in the world, you know, so I'd love to get up there and play around or 2 or 5.
Yeah, Maple Hill is definitely one of those on our bucket list for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question we got here is one tip you would give to yourself who just started playing disc golf.
Film yourself. Film yourself in slow motion, watch it back, and do your field work. If you're, I mean, that is if you're serious about getting better. If you're just out there to have fun, then just go out there and have fun. You know, that's probably the biggest tip. But you know, if you want to get better and quicker without paying for a lesson, you know, watch content on YouTube, get some pros tips because they all have something a little different to say. But definitely film yourself and do that field work, because knowing the discs and how they're going to react and you know how good or bad your form is in certain areas will go a long way.
Yeah, and definitely the slow-mo is very important. Something that I've kind of been working on with one of my buddies who just moved to town is recording in slow mo so that it's so much easier to see, and I can like real time barely move my finger as he's moving and just kind of talk through it and walk through it. And that is so helpful. Same thing for me. Like I would much rather see my form in slow mo than full speed, so I can actually really visualize, break it down from a fundamental standpoint. So yeah, that's a really good one. Definitely have not heard that in a while. That was good. I'm really glad you brought that up. The fourth one we've got for you: what is your favorite memory playing disc golf?
Just a couple weeks ago, USDGC, I wasn't playing, but my wife and we took the 3 kids up. You know, we went into it anticipating it being a circus, and it kind of was, because they're real young and they just want to run around and yell and scream and have fun, you know. So, but it was really awesome to go up there and actually meet some of our players in person, meet some non-players in person. I met DJ Heck Yeah, you know, he's awesome. I just got done watching his podcast over on Frolf Center. Go check it out. That guy's awesome. You know, that by far was my best memory. And, you know, I was there with my wife and my kids. We met a lot of awesome people. We made relationships, you know, and that goes way further than anything I could do on the computer through messaging, you know, this face-to-face, you know, like it's just, you know, priceless. You know, you can't put a dollar value on that. And so, you know, we want to do more of that. I think I would like to take them up to Myrtle Beach for the Myrtle Beach Open that's coming up in a couple weeks. We just became sponsors for the Heck Yeah Putter Party, where they rent out the stadium and they do like a little golf competition there. So if you're in that area, check it out. I think it's going to be a blast. I hope I'm going to be there. If you're up there and you see me, come over, say hi. Maybe I'll have a DiscDot for you.
Cool. All right. Last question we got for you here is, what is the biggest mistake you see new players make?
Yeah, you know, throwing discs that are too stable. You know, I think that most people say that, and you know, it's totally true. And I didn't discover, you know, throwing understable discs until at least a year into playing, and it completely changed my game. So I would say start with understable discs, you know, get to learn how much power, how much effort, you know, you need to throw an understable disc and be able to control it first before you start going up. You know, even to this day, my bag is mostly 9 speeds and down. I have 111 speed, 110 speed, and like that's pretty much it. You know, I throw slow speed discs because I can control them, and honestly, they go just about as far as I can throw that 11 speed. You know, I can get the 11 speed up to about 375 is where I top out, and I can get a fairway 350, 360. So, you know, I'm not really losing out on much, but I can control it better. It feels better in my hand. So, you know, cranking over on those big discs, you know, everybody says it, and you know, it must be true. So I would definitely ring home with that one. You know, go understable, learn how they fly, you know, and you'll get some easy distance out of them too, you know, and it'll help you, you know, help your form, help your feeling, you know, goes back to confidence. You know, you throw a good shot, you're likely to throw another good shot. But if you throw a bad shot, you're likely to throw another bad shot. So, you know, that steamroll effect. So you know, just take the time to, you know, invest in learning the sport as much as you can, because this is the hardest sport I've ever seen. There's nothing like it. You know, you throw a ball, it goes straight. You throw pretty much anything, it goes straight. You throw a disc, good luck getting it to go straight, man. It's one of the hardest things to do. So master learning how to get a disc to go straight, you'll go far. I mean, look at Paige Pierce. She's a master at that. She can throw that fierce, like dead straight, like nobody's business. So, you can place it wherever you need to. So tips I got.
Alrighty, Rick, man, this was such a fun episode. Loved getting to talk to you, learn more about the business and the behind the scenes of the business. Before we get you out of here, where can the people, go? What's your website and where can people connect with you on social media?
Sure. The website is disc.usa.com. The social media platforms are the same. It's at disc.usa for, Facebook and Instagram. We have a TikTok, but we don't really use it. We're not media creators. Like, we're still trying to get that. And that's where we have our team. Our team supplies a lot of content, but definitely go check out the website, disc.usa.com. Definitely use the code Chain Clankers. Save yourself a little bit of money. Not a lot of people use codes, man. You're leaving money on the table. I would like to, help you out and make you feel good about what you're buying. Thank you for the support. Thank you for having me on. This has been a blast. I loved every minute of it, and can't wait to talk to you guys again.
Thank you for listening to the Chain Clankers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers, and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us from so you never miss another episode.